Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Trend Watch from CompTIA Research, where we give you a little bit of this and a little bit of that from the trends that we're seeing in the technology industry. Today, we're going to talk about career drivers for people that are going into technology careers. And as we talk about career drivers, the thing that jumps out to me is how many of these things are dealing with the complexity of a technology career. So when we asked people in one of our recent surveys, what were the things that really made you interested in a technology career? What were the things that kind of drove you to look at a technology career? We saw people talk about the career potential, the ability to kind of grow that career. We saw people talk about a high salary, and we saw people talk about problem solving, that those three things were really interesting to them. When we asked people as they looked back and at the point that they were now in their career, what are the things that resonate the most with them? We see those same three things, but we see them in a slightly different order. We see people saying that problem solving is actually the most interesting part of their career, followed by a high salary, followed by career potential. And some of that may come because they're already in the career. And so maybe they've advanced pretty far and they don't see as much potential anymore, but they're still interested in the problem solving. But I think that the fact that problem solving kind of jumps to the top of the list really speaks to the nature of these technology careers. We're dealing with increasingly complex systems. We've talked some in the past about strategic IT and how the shift in IT has been away from building a solid compute foundation and into building more complex solutions and applications that are sitting on top of that foundation. With AI, with other emerging technologies, now that a lot of companies are using cloud computing, we're seeing a lot more complexity go into the business applications that they use and into the overall solutions that they're trying to get with technology. So that complexity, I think, is tied to salary. You don't just get a high salary for doing something simple. I think that the high salary is also a reflection of the complexity, but that complexity and problem solving, I think, is really appealing to people as they get deeper and deeper into their career. And I think it also comes up when we talk about motivations to change roles. So maybe moving from an infrastructure specialist to a data specialist, or from a cybersecurity engineer into a software developer. Making those shifts from one field to another, we ask people, why do you do that? What drives you to do that? And we see salary and benefits, in there. We especially see that at the lower levels as people are trying to build up that salary for themselves. And again, that's a connection to complexity, whether they're trying to advance or whether they're trying to switch into a new role. That new salary is going to come as a result of dealing with more complexity. And then the other big driver that we see for changing a job role is more job satisfaction. We talk a lot about burnout within technology careers, but that actually doesn't seem to be as big of a factor for the people that we surveyed. There's definitely some burnout in there, but these other elements weigh a lot more heavily. And job satisfaction, I think, comes not just from getting away from a difficult situation or a situation that may be causing burnout, but it comes from dealing with a more complex problem. Maybe that would be even engaging with the business more and trying to use technology to drive business strategy. Maybe it's still completely within the realm of technology and you're only solving more complex technology problems. You're learning about a different discipline so that you can solve system-wide problems instead of problems that are only focused within a certain area. But I think that the complexity that is within technology systems and technology careers is something that people really enjoy exploring, whether they're trying to solve problems or whether they're looking for some job satisfaction. I think that's something that's worth looking at more and more as we study the workforce and as we learn more about people that are trying to step into technology careers. So that's it for today. We hope that you will join us on the next episode of Trend Watch.